It's 12 days since the attack in Streatham, and we're with Sir Andrew Parker.
Morning.
As he visits Scotland Yard.
Hi Andrew.
How are you doing?
Good to see you. How often do you come here to Scotland Yard?
Oh, it's one of our very regular encounters. The relationship between us really important for the partnership that we have.
He's here to meet the Commissioner, Dame Cressida Dick, who leads the Metropolitan Police. They're discussing London's latest terrorist attack.
It's a ghastly thing that happened in Streatham. Could have been, of course, so much worse. Within minutes, Andrew and I are texting each other, as we always would with something like that happens.
The attacker, Sudesh Aman, had just been released from prison and was under surveillance.
We plan ahead for when people are being released, what measures might be proportionate and necessary to manage the risk that they may present.
We've spent some of the last 3 months inside MI5, which works on counter-terrorism and counter-espionage.
Our reason for wanting to do this is just to open up a little bit more where we can.
Sir Andrew Parker will be stepping down as its Director General in April. On the walls, evidence of the agency's successful operations.
We're in a part of Thames House, our headquarters, which does the counter-terrorist work. So we're surrounded by rooms here full of people who are doing counter-terrorist investigations and operations.
He discussed the attacks that did get through during 6 months in 2017. Westminster Bridge, Manchester, London Bridge, Finsbury Park, Parsons Green.
I think it'd be right to say it becomes progressively more challenging when, and then another attack happens of a different sort in a different place.
Did it ever feel that you weren't in control of this?
Well, we're not in control of it, ever, are we? We're not in control of... To be in control would mean that somehow we could, manage this whole landscape and stop everything. We can't do that.
Tell me about hearing about Manchester.
Whenever these events have happened, it comes out of the blue in a sense. We don't know something's about to happen. Saw it first on the news, I think, but I then had a phone call while I was seeing it on the news, and it then spins into the process we've spoken about, where I then need to go into work at very high speed, get to meetings, get briefed, sit with the Prime Minister and the Home Secretary.
And what's going through your mind as you see that news come in and you get that phone call?
I think I'd be lying if I didn't say I had a sinking feeling. Of course, you're speaking to me as the Director of MI5, but I've got a family, I've got kids, and yeah, of course, it's the worst of the worst sort of situation.
But some of the 2017 attackers were known to the security services.
Khalid Masood, Quran Butt at London Bridge had been on the radar too. There are a lot of serious questions for this organisation.
Actually, I usually have said to ministers, successive Home Secretaries, over the years, if and when there's another terrorist attack, the very high likelihood is that it will be done by somebody who appears in our records somewhere, because we have worked really, really hard at trying to understand which people in this country are across this landscape of extremism. And there are thousands of them, and we cannot monitor closely what all those people are doing all the time.
So what can MI5 do? Last year, a court upheld a government policy allowing informants, known as agents, to commit crimes when necessary.
We're not talking about our agents, going off leading lives of crime. If you have an agent penetrating a terrorist organisation and being able to report to us about it, well, they probably need to be a member of it. Being a member of a terrorist organisation is a serious criminal offence.
Isn't there an ethical question though?
And that's why it's really important that there is a proper formal system of authorising these decisions and of independent oversight, which is judicial oversight. Mustn't forget that one of the really, really strong planks of what we do is the incredible value of our agents. And as I'm speaking publicly, I hope you don't mind if I take the opportunity to to say a big thank you to them for their courage and commitment to helping us do what we do. Without them, we would have a really serious problem.
But the emerging challenges come not only from espionage and terrorism, but from technology too. He says although the internet companies are doing more to help, they need to do more still.
Well, what sort of world do we want? Are we really wanting a world where there's a cyberspace that is a Wild West, unregulated, inaccessible to authorities space, but the physical world is regulated, policed? We do want to see uniformed police on the streets, we want crime to be dealt with. Why do we think differently just because it's cyberspace? I find this increasingly mystifying. But I say to the companies, can you please use the brilliant technologists you've got to answer this question, which is, can you provide end-to-end encryption, but on an exceptional basis, where there is a legal warrant and a compelling case to do it, provide access to stop the most serious forms of harm happening.
But what does MI5 know about you or me that we might not be aware of?
We are only interested in people who mean us harm. We're interested in terrorists and spies, and that's where we focus our collection. We do not approach our work by population level monitoring, looking for signs of, out of this 65 million people, who shall we look a bit more closely at. We do not do that.
MI5 will soon have a new Director General, the only person in the organisation whose name can be made public. A serving spy might need to give up their anonymity like he did and tell some loved ones what they really do.
I had worked here for 30 years in that style of secrecy we've talked about, where just close family and one or two friends needed to know where I was working and gave me great support doing it. It was really valuable. But everybody else, didn't know that I was working. I thought I was working for the government in some sort of role. A day came when, my face and job description and new appointment was on the news. It was nearly 7 years ago. And of course it was, let's say it was at least interesting for people who know me.
Today the Queen made a rare visit to MI5 with a message for its staff.
So it is on behalf of the country that I say to you all, thank you.
The agency has never been so visible as it is tonight. But the more it can be seen, the more it can be scrutinised too.